Hello, this is Brian Pitzer with the Northern Angler Fly Shop in Traverse City. Today we're going to discuss some of the different wintertime steelhead techniques that we use here in the Great Lakes. We're going to go over spey fishing. So what exactly is spey fishing? Spey fishing is basically a series of roll casts that we use to propel maybe like a bigger line and a bigger fly out there to present that to a fish. Today we're on the Big Manistee River, so my weapon of choice is about a 13-foot 3-inch 8-weight. So anywhere from 12.5 to 14 feet I feel very comfortable with on the Big Manistee as far as length. You can get away with a switch rod, which would be considered something like 10.5 to 11.5 footer, just as well too. But I like a little bit longer rod here on the Big Manistee. I want to make some longer casts, and the type of water I want to focus on, if you look over here, is going to be kind of these tree tips and slower slack water. These fish are going to sit in bigger, deeper holes, and what I've noticed here the past few weeks is the fish have really moved into that 4 to 6 inch depth over wood. So it lines up nicely to run indicators or to swing flies. So I've got an intermediate line set up here, and I like these intermediate heads, and I've got about 12 feet of T14, and that's about ideal for the flow levels and everything we have. I've selected just a black and blue fly with a little bit of pink head on it and some lead eyes. Nice subdued fly. The water's pretty clear, so I don't want to go with any something too big, too much flash, something maybe a little bit more natural looking. The water temperature is about 39 degrees, and the air temperature right now is beautiful. It's like 40 degrees, so we're not really experiencing too much ice in the guides. And yeah, so what I would do to get set up is kind of just work out my line, and I want to get the head out first. And really, to get started spey casting, I would say 2 casts. If you can perfect the double spey and like a snap tee or something like that, you would be all set. So the double spey, simply bring it up, start in a little bit closer, and I'm gonna slide that min, and I'm just gonna let this swing right over this nice soft water. There's a ton of wood in here. I can slow it down with a min, and I'm just gonna swing this down, paying attention to my hang down. And I'm gonna step down through a run, and I'm gonna pick out the woody debris and hopefully look for that player fish. Boy, spey's been around in the Great Lakes. It really started getting going, I'd say about 20 years ago. And it seems to be one of the things that grows every year. And spey fishing is probably not for everyone. If you're a big numbers person, I definitely would say not for you. But if you feel like maybe you've caught enough steelhead in your lifetime and you really, cherish the fish or whatever, and you want to try something different, definitely spey is a great way to go. It's pretty easy to get into, pretty affordable. This reel right here is 120 bucks. So it's not like you have to spend a ton of money to get started in spey. We have rods that start at $250. A lot of times you want to get set up with the right lines, the correct lines, and that can be confusing. So when it comes to spey, the more you read, a lot of the stuff comes from the West Coast, and they use a lot of floating lines and things like that. So here, we use a lot more intermediate lines and sinking tips and things like that. Our fish here in the Great Lakes are kind of lazy. They want to sit back. They're not going to chase something down. They're the top of the food chain. So you're kind of looking to, put that fly in their lair and have them chase it out, almost like streamer fishing for trout. So, and spey fishing has come a long way. You see a lot more people doing it now in the Midwest, whether, it's the Muskegon, the St. Joe, Pere Marquette, the Big Manistee. I see them doing it on the Betsy, everywhere you go. The Bourbon here in Traverse City. So it's a great way to catch fish. It's a great way to get over the logs, into lumber, into areas that you couldn't normally put a fly. Oh, Oh, that might have been fun. Oh, bumper bottom. One of the great things about spay fishing is you can do it with a single-handed rod. So if I'm fishing the Boardman, let's say, I have lots of brushy trees and things like that. I don't have much back cast room. I can do different spay casts with a single-handed rod. Spay casting also helps you read water a little bit better and really think about where you're going to place that fly and where those fish would sit. So I think it helps you read water too when it comes to your trout fishing, as well as gives you a few more casts in your arsenal when it comes to your single hand cast. Yes.